स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. Namaskar to all of you. Welcome to the study of the lives of direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. We are studying now Latu Maharaj or Adbhutanandaji's life. We will continue from where we had left in the last. In the middle of 1885, Sri Ramakrishna's throat became sore. This was the first indication of cancer. To conveniently treat him, the devotees moved Sri Ramakrishna from Dakshineshwar to Shampukur in North Calcutta. Latu now was his personal attendant, so he went with Sri Ramakrishna. Between his duties, Latu continued his spiritual disciplines and he often experienced ecstasy. Dr. Mahendralal Sarkar, an eminent scientist, was Sri Ramakrishna's physician. He believed that all spirituality and spiritual experiences, ecstasy, to be a kind of nervous debility because of science. On 25th October 1885, Narendra sang a few devotional songs to Sri Ramakrishna when Dr. Sarkar was present. What happened then? In the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, Mahendranath Gupta has recorded that while the song was being sung, a strange transformation came over the devotees. They all became mad with joy of spirituality, as it were, with divine ecstasy, including the doctor. The scientist, the doctor, would not believe in ecstasies and spiritual experiences. Now, elder Narendra, who would become Swami Vivekananda, was singing. There was one more Naren, younger Naren, and Latu. During that period, when there was that transformation, they went into deep ecstasy. The atmosphere of the room became electric. Everyone felt the presence of God. Now, Sri Ramakrishna asked the doctor, Mahendralal Sarkar, you have just noticed the effect of divine ecstasy. What does your science say about it? Do you think that it is all mere hoax? To which the doctor replied, I must say that this is all natural. Why? When so many people, all of the people here, including me, have experienced that joy, the divine transformation of all the devotees, including me, so it cannot be a hoax. I have experienced it. Then Ramakrishna stayed at this place, Shampukur, for 3 months and then moved to Kashipur on 11th December 1885. Gradually, Sri Ramakrishna's body became weak and weak. making it possible, making it impossible for him to walk to the toilet. It was his end was nearing. Now he asked Latu to clean his commode. Now you see Latu's Guru Bhakti and that intensity of service. When Ramakrishna asked that he cannot move, he cannot walk now to the toilet, and asked Latu to clean his commode, what was the reply of Latu? With great joy, Latu replied, Master, whatever you will order me to do, I will do. I am your scavenger, I am your sweeper, I am your servant. That was the attitude of Latu. Again, let us go back to Karma Yoga, where Swami Vivekananda explains what is the essence of all four yogas, what is the essence of all the religion. There he gives, if you filter, if you take out the essence of all the religions, all the paths, all yogas, is perfect self-abnegation, completely removing your selfishness, your ego. Now, ego, the selfishness makes any work high or low, any person high or low, any work is good or bad. But once you realize God, everything is God. See, we repeat one mantra from Bhagavad Gita, from the 4th chapter, the 24th verse of the 4th chapter. Who introduced this tradition? Swami Vivekananda introduced this tradition in our ashrama, and we see that after that, everywhere that is followed. Why are we to tell Brahmarpanam, that shloka, while or before taking the food, as offering to food? It is in no way connected to food. Many traditional ashramas, they tell Annapurne, Sadapurne, Shankara Pranavallabe. So that Annapurneshwari Stotra is told. Then some other tell the shloka, the verse from Bhagavad Gita, Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashrita. So that shloka is repeated. I am the digestive power, the fire of digestion in all the living beings. I digest all the four types of food Lord Krishna is told. But instead, Swami Vivekananda has introduced Brahmarpanam Brahma Havihi, where it is told that Yagna, in the Yagna or Yaga or Havan or Homa, Brahma Arpanam, the Arpana, the offering which we do is Parabrahma or God, highest Paramatman. Brahma Havihi, the Havis, the ghee, the oblation which we offer is also God. Brahma Agnau, Agni, the fire to which we offer in the Yaga or Yagna, sacrifice, is also God. Brahmana Hutam. So Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam, Brahma Karma Samadhina. The act of doing that havan, the ladle with which, the instrument with which is poured, the person who is offering, everything is God. Lord Krishna tells in that yagna. So now Swami Vivekananda wanted that the ordinary action of taking food, which we think is very ordinary, can be converted into an act of yagna, like a sacrifice or a havan, which is sacred. We think this is secular, which is very ordinary, but in reality you can make it sacred, like yajna. So that's why Swami Vivekananda has introduced that particular shloka before food, Brahmarpanam. Everything is offered to God. Now, the act of taking food, if you convert that like a yajna or a worship, what happens? The food which we eat is an offering. Just like in the yajna, we offer things to God. Then the act of offering, taking the food, then the digestive fire, the hydrochloric acid, concentrated hydrochloric acid, and other gastric juices in the digestive system that burns and takes all the food, digests all the food, and assimilates it. So that is also God. Then the energy you get from the food after assimilation, that is also God. So that which is present in me is God. So everything is offered to God. So if you can convert this wonderful act of taking the food as a yajna, that also will be a worship or the havan. So that was the idea of introducing this particular shloka, not any other shloka. So now, here, Latu, for Latu, because of his Guru Bhakti, because of his progress in spiritual life, and he didn't have any other coloring of his mind due to the modern day education or the Western influence upon him. No Western influence at all. He has not read any book. So because of the spiritual progress, now he has come to learn to convert every work into worship, whether high or low. That is the truth. That is the reality. Because of our ego, because of our selfishness, it is we who convert all the work into low or high, or people into low or high, good and bad. So when you get the samatva, you progress forward in spiritual life, your mind rises high. There is no high or low. Everything can be converted into worship. Vivekananda used to tell, start the karma yoga with work and worship. Then it will progress into work as worship. And finally, work is worship. Everything is worship. Now Latu has come to a state where even when he was given the work of cleaning the toilet, cleaning the commode, he was so happy. He didn't feel any aversion. He was joyful. He's doing that work with great joy. He's telling Sri Ramakrishna, "Oh Master, whatever you will order me to do, I will do it. I'm your sweeper. I'm your servant. I'm your scavenger." So now you can see, with a small act or the way the performance of the karma, you can see what is the progress in spiritual life. You need not have visions. You need not have some other thing to decide whether you have progressed forward in spiritual life. How to test myself? How can I test myself that I have progressed forward in spiritual life? So you can see how unselfish have you become, how considerate to others you have become. Have you become unselfish? Then you are rightly moving towards God. Have you reduced your ego? Have you reduced your selfishness? Then you are progressing forward in spiritual life. So you see the attitude with which Latu accepted even the act of cleaning the commode or the toilet with great joy. For him, Guru Bhakti, the service of the Guru, is the highest. He's so joyful, he's telling, "Master, whatever you will order me to do, I will do it. I am your sweeper. I am your servant." With such joy and enthusiasm, is ready to do anything. As Swami Vivekananda has told in another place, now don't judge a person whether he's great or whether he is ordinary, by his very special or great acts. Why? Any ordinary person, any fool, any unintelligent person, and thousands of people are watching you, he may perform great acts. You cannot judge whether he's really great or not. But if you have to understand whether he's really great, then watch the ordinary, the small things he performs. Then by that you can decide whether he's great person or not. For example, you go to the house, see the house, all the people everywhere will have kept their showcase, the outer veranda, the place where the guests sit, very clean, spick and span. Why? People come and look at it. But go inside the backyard, the toilet, the bathroom, and all other ordinary things, the kitchen, then that is also, if that spick and span, then they are really great. But you see there, wherever the places people don't see it, or such things, the small acts are neglected. But where people are watching and where people are noticing, we will do it very good way, because we want to show off. 80% of our energy is wasted in showing to the world what we are not. This statement of Swami Vivekananda. 80% of our energy is wasted in showing to the world what we are not. If we had used half of that energy to be what we wanted to become, we would have easily achieved that. So here, even the smallest act, the ordinary act of cleaning the toilet of his guru, he is doing with joy. There is no high or low. There is no bad or good. Everything is sacred now. Everything is worship now to Latu. Now you can see how he has progressed in spiritual life. That is karma yoga. That is real karma yoga. So not just repeating, I am doing karma yoga and doing things haphazardly. That's not karma yoga. What is the attitude with which you do every work? That is karma yoga. So now, later, Latu reminisced about the Kashipur days. Now Ramakrishna has moved from Dakshineshwar to Kashipur garden house. If you go to Belur Math, then they will definitely ask you to go to Kashipur in Calcutta, maybe some 7 kilometers or something, 8 kilometers from Belur Math. You have to cross the Ganga and go there. Even now you can see the place, the Kashipur garden house, where Ramakrishna became the Kalpataru and blessed all the people to get illumination. Anybody who was there, everybody who was there got illumination. They got the vision of their Ishtadevata. Whatever they wanted, they got it. So that day, January 1st is celebrated as the Kalpataru day. Now, that Kashipur garden house, Latu reminisced about the Kashipur days. Latu is telling, serving the master was our worship. Serving master was our worship. We didn't need any other spiritual discipline. The master taught us during worship, one should think that his chosen deity is in front of him. How to do the worship? Ramakrishna has taught them. Latu is telling, Ramakrishna taught them how to do the worship. What is worship? What is puja? The master taught us during worship, during puja, one should think that his chosen deity. See, these are all things to be noted and written in your diary. What is worship? How to do the worship? The same thing is meditation. How to do the worship? Ramakrishna himself is instructing how to do the worship. During worship, one should think that his chosen deity, Ishtadevata, is sitting in front of him. You are washing his feet. You are bathing your deity. You are decorating him. You are feeding him and placing him in your heart. offering flowers at his feet. So that is how you have to perform the worship. Ramakrishna himself had instructed Latu. So can't we now emulate that, understand this? Every day you can do that puja every day. You need not have any implements. You need not have any vessels of the puja vessels. Whatever you have, you make the Lord, think that the Lord is sitting in front of you. Then start serving him. This is called Manasupuja, mental worship. You take warm water if it is cold, and cold water if it is summer. Then wash his feet with great devotion. Then wipe his feet, thinking that Lord is in front of you. Wash his hands, wash his mouth, face, give him a bath. Then apply sandalwood to his body, or nowadays you don't get sandalwood, the moisturizer which you use after the bath, that can be applied. Mentally apply that to your Ishtadevata, and afterwards wash your hands. Feed your Ishtadevata with many delicacies, fruits, sweets, or anything you do. Then after that, decorate him, give him garlands, make him wear good dress, and then you can take him to your heart and start worshipping his feet with the flowers. So that is puja, that is worship. Placing him in your heart, offering flowers at his feet. And Latu is telling, at Kashipur, we did that to the master. Literally, we did that to the master. So all that work, the service we did to master, that was puja for us, worship. So whenever now the guests come to your house, you have your children, you have your father, mother, you have your husband, you have your wife, you have your children, you have your neighbors, the boss, the subordinates, your colleagues, anybody, whenever you are with them, anybody of anyone, then whatever little you do to them in the form of service, giving them coffee, tea, or snacks, or even talking sweetly, good words. So if you think that you are worshipping the Lord, the Ishtadevata, your Ishtadevata, who is present in their heart, then you can convert every action of yours into worship. So sitting in the morning and evening and doing japa and meditation, well and good. How much will you do? 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour? 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the evening. But what about the rest 24/7? Out of the 24 hours, if you do half an hour of japa or worship, then what about the 23 hours? So every act of yours, the whole day you can convert into worship. Whomever you see, your father, your mother, your brothers, your sisters, your wife, your husband, whatever way you are treating them, whatever way you are serving them, you have to do it. Instead of doing it grudgingly, oh, what a monotonous thing I have to do. I have to serve these people. They don't have any other work. They get up late. They are lazy people. I have to serve them and they are not obedient to me. What shall I do? How to do this work? So instead of grudgingly, instead of doing it in a wrong attitude, you just see, it is free of cost. You need not pay anything. Just change of attitude, that's all. You change your attitude and seeing God, your Ishtadevata in them, if you start serving, that itself will become worship. Every second, every moment you can be worshipping God. You will make what you call strides, very quick progress in spiritual life. So now Latu is teaching us. He did it and he is telling us at Kashipur we did that to Sri Ramakrishna. In the early part of 1886, the elder Gopal, there were many Gopals coming to Ramakrishna. So to differentiate, one senior most Gopal, one of the direct disciple, was a householder. He was very senior even to Ramakrishna. So he was called Elder Gopal, Budo Gopal. Budo in Bengali. In Hindi it is called Buddha. It comes from the word, Sanskrit word Vriddha. Vriddha means elderly. Vriddha Gopala, that has become Buddha Gopal. So Elder Gopal, He once expressed a desire to distribute 12 ochre cloths. You know, in India, it is believed if you give something, if you serve the sadhus, sannyasis, then that is very meritorious. You get lot of merit punya. So if you give them ochre cloths, rosaries, and other things, water pots, so that will be very meritorious. The highest merit if you serve the sadhus. That's the scriptures tell in Hinduism. So elderly Gopal, that elder Gopal or Gopalda, he wanted to distribute 12 sets of ochre cloth, that is the saffron cloth, which the sannyasins or the monks wear. 12 rosaries, Rudrakshamala, to some monks who would come to Dakshineshwar in that area, because he thought that will be giving him lot of merit. The master said to him, why do you want to offer it to some vagabond sadhus who go there and here? Offer those cloths and rosaries to these young disciples of mine. The young disciples like Elder Naren would become Swami Vivekananda, Mahapurush Maharaj, Tarakda would become Swami Shivananda, Latu would become Adbhutananda. They were leading even greater life than a monk. So the master is telling, why do you want to give it to some vagabond sadhus here and there? Offer those cloths and rosaries to these young disciples of mine. And see, notice the words used by Ramakrishna. Each one of them, each one of those direct disciples would become monks later on, is equivalent. Each one of these disciples is equivalent to 1,000 monks. One Narendra maybe is equal to million monks. So Ramakrishna himself is telling each one of them is equivalent to 1,000 monks. So you should note that not ordinary people came as disciples. Ramakrishna used to tell about his own disciples, the sannyasin disciples, that if each one of them were so great, if they had come individually at other times, they would have started a sect, formed sect, they would become spiritual leaders and they would be worshipped by their followers. They are so great that they would become great saints and they would be revered in the world as great leaders. They would become the head of so many sects maybe. About Swami Vivekananda, Ramakrishna used to tell, if Buddha started one sect called Buddhism, then Narendra had so much of capacity, he could start 16 different sects. Swami Vivekananda had that much of capacity. But each one are so great, but because they have come with me, so their brightness is dimmed in front of the sun. So the brightness of these moon or the stars have dimmed. Because Ramakrishna himself was so great, so all that greatness of these disciples have been dimmed down. That was what this was the statement of Ramakrishna himself. So here Ramakrishna is telling, offer these ochre cloths. You want merit, isn't it? You want punya. You will get more punya. Why? Offer those cloths and rosaries to these young disciples of mine. Each one of them is equivalent to 1,000 monks. Now elderly Gopal handed over all those ochre cloths, the saffron cloths and rosaries to Ramakrishna himself. And Ramakrishna himself gave one each, that set of ochre cloth and rosary, to Latu, Adbhutananda and other disciples. So you can see Ramakrishna himself initiated his disciples into sannyasa, and the order, Ramakrishna order of the monks, was started by Ramakrishna himself. We are celebrating the foundation day which was started then May 1st, 1897 by Swami Vivekananda and other direct disciples in Calcutta in Balram Babu's house. So May 1st, we had the functions, and the whole year is celebrated as the foundation day of Ramakrishna Math and Mission. Now we think that Narendra and other direct disciples started this, but here you can see in 1886, early part of 1886, Ramakrishna himself is starting this. Is distributing the ochre cloth to all these disciples. The first was Latu. Latu himself, Adbhutananda himself, was given this ochre cloth. When Gopal handed over to Ramakrishna, and Ramakrishna gave one ochre cloth and rosary to Latu, and remaining one to other disciples. Latu earlier had various kinds of spiritual experiences, such as ecstasy, bhava samadhi, and visions of divine forms or light. So these are all the different visions you will have while you are progressing forward in spiritual life. What are they? If we don't have, then are we not progressing forward in spiritual life? No, they are just milestones. Suppose you are going from Johannesburg to Durban, or Durban to Cape Town, or wherever. On the way, you can see the board, or in olden days, there would be a stone thing marking there, and there would be written Cape Town, another 800 kilometer, Johannesburg or Durban, another 200 kilometers, 500 kilometers. So as you go on, when you see that board, you say, oh, we are progressing forward to our destination. So like that, all these visions and all the other things, ecstasies, they're all milestones, showing us only, it is indicating that you are moving forward. That's all. So if you don't have it, suppose there are no milestones on the road, don't feel unhappy that, but still you are moving towards that destination. So likewise, if you don't have some visions or seeing lights or something like that, don't worry. As I told you earlier, what is the test? Are you becoming calm? Are you getting your mind into samatva, the equanimity? Are you becoming unselfish? Are you becoming considerate to others? Have your sympathy and empathy increased? Have you started serving everybody, seeing God in them? So that is the real test. Other things are milestones, but this is the real test of your progress in spiritual life. Are you becoming unselfish? Are you becoming considerate to others? Are you feeling the pain and suffering and miseries of others and trying to help them? These are the real thing by which you can measure yourself. How much of progress have you done in spiritual life? That is more important. So the other things are just milestones. You can know how much you are progressing. So if you don't have any visions, or if you don't see any light, don't worry at all. Go on testing. How much unselfish I have become? How much of feeling for the poor? How much of feeling for the other people? How much of my anger is reduced? How much of my ego is reduced? How much am I disturbed when there is emotional disturbances? Suppose somebody scolds you. Suppose somebody hurts you, does your character assassination, calls you by names, and starts spreading carnage against you. Then how less are you disturbed? How more are you disturbed? After that happening, how long will that disturbance continue? The disturbance of the mind. By that also you can understand your progress forward in spiritual life. If all these things do not disturb you, or it makes very less impact. Yes, when somebody hurts you, when there is some problem, when somebody lost, there is detachment, something is gone, you have loss of money. So the disturbance might make little impact, or it may make impact, it may disturb you. But how quickly you will come back to normalcy, samatva, equanimity. So there also you can watch your mind every day. How much of strength have I got? How much of disturbance can I withstand? How can all the failures and disturbances outside world competition is not disturbing you? There may be failures, there may be so many setbacks, so it should not disturb you. You should be happy. See Ramachandra, yesterday he had the news that he will be getting coronation tomorrow, and that very night he gets the news Dasharatha is telling you have to go to the forest. No coronation. You will not become the king. Bharata will become the king. Not even a single twitch on the face of Ramachandra. Joyful, the same joy. No disturbance at all. So even losing the kingship, the emperorship, he has to go to the forest, not at all disturbed. So that is the sign. How you are taking all the things of the life. Are you disturbed? So how much of time you will take back? So within a second you come back to normalcy. You have learned so many things, so many great things you are learning in the form of the life of Latu Maharaj. All that is stored in the memory as intellectual knowledge. How much have you converted that intellectual knowledge into emotional knowledge? Intellectual strength into emotional strength. Because the whole of your life is emotion, full of emotions. All the disturbances are caused due to emotion. So how have you converted the intellectual energy into emotional energy? How those disturbances from the emotions will not touch you? Then there you can see how much of progress you have made in spiritual life. So these are the tests. So here you can see in Latu how we just now observed. Even the work of cleaning the commode, joy is doing. Everything is converted into worship. Now, Latu earlier had various kinds of spiritual experiences, such as Bhava Samadhi, ecstasy, visions of divine forms or light. But he experienced the highest Samadhi. As I told you, when the meditation we are trying now, all of us are not really meditating. The first is japa. Then with japa we are trying to meditate. When somebody, Revered Yatishwaranandaji Maharaj, who was the disciple of Brahmanandaji Raja Maharaj, asked one of his disciples, "What are you doing?" Told, "I am meditating." Never tell you are meditating. Nobody is meditating. It's very difficult to meditate. Should tell the correct approach is, "I am trying to meditate." So we are all trying to meditate. While doing the japa, with the japa, the name of the Lord, we are trying to meditate. Now, after purification of the mind for many, many years, then that you can concentrate on your mind on 22 seconds or 22 minutes on some other thing, then the real meditation has come. If that deepens and goes forward deeper and deeper, something like 1 hour or 2 hours, you can concentrate, focus on one thing. Then you have gone to dharana, from dhyana, meditation to dharana, and still deeper, that is samadhi. So you have merged your mind with God. In that samadhi, there are so many varieties of samadhi. Bhava samadhi, savikalpa samadhi, so many different samadhi merging in God. That union with God is called samadhi. Concentration, highest concentration of the mind. The highest samadhi is nirvikalpa samadhi. So now Latu is having that while he is serving, because of the service to the master, because of your karma of doing the service with great devotion to the Guru, he got that highest spiritual experience. Now here in Kashipur, Latu experienced the highest samadhi. He later narrated to a devotee, "You see, it is nothing spectacular. As I told you, all these visions and other things, okay, it's well and good, it's milestone. But here Latu himself is telling to another devotee, you see, it is nothing spectacular to see light during meditation. For them it is common. For us, it's very, very special. They're so great that he is telling, Latu Maharaj is telling, to see light, to see visions and other things, is nothing spectacular to see light and during meditation. What does it do? If you have that, it only strengthens faith. When body consciousness goes away, so we all identify, mix up the Atman with the Anatman. We think we are this body, we are this mind, the brain, the ego. We identify with that. When you separate, that is the highest goal of yoga, to separate Purusha and Prakriti. We have mixed up in this body, we have the Purusha, whether you are man or woman. In you is that Purusha. Purusha is Puresheti iti Purushaha. The Atman, the Paramatman, the God who lives in this town called body, with the Navarandras, the 9 openings, the 10 sense organs, and the motor organs, Gnanendriya and Karmendriya, all that, the who is present in this town, Puresheti iti Purushaha. So, not a man with mustache and male insignias. He is not a man, no, Purusha. Purusha means the one who resides. Even if you are a woman, the one who resides in you is Purusha. So separating, we are all Prakriti. We have identified with this Prakriti nature. So separating this Purusha from the Prakriti is a goal of Yoga, Raja Yoga. All the yogas, but there it is specific. So all the other things are not very spectacular to see light during meditation. It only strengthens faith. But when body consciousness goes away, when you don't feel that you are the body, you are the mind, you are the ego, but you are the Atman, the Purusha, the Parabrahman, that same very Atman is the Paramatman or Parabrahman. So when you get that, lose your body consciousness. When body consciousness goes away and your mind becomes pure, one realizes the realm behind the light. One realizes the realm, the Turiyavastha, which is beyond light and all the other things of this world, which is beyond time, which is beyond light, which is beyond this creation, which is beyond everything. You will realize that. So the same thing is told in the first 2 verses of Mandukya Upanishad. What is that statement in Mandukya Upanishad? Om ityetad aksharam idagam sarvam tasyopa vyakhyanam bhutam bhavat bhavishyaditi sarvam omkara eva. Then what is the second verse in the Mandukya Upanishad? Sarvagam hetad brahma ayam atma brahma soyam atma chatushpat. So what is the meaning of these 2 verses of Mandukya Upanishad? So it is telling the syllable Om. We do not know the value of Om. We repeat it. Here Mandukya Upanishad is telling the greatness of Om. The syllable Om is all this belonging to the past, the present and the future. And in all these 3 states, the living and the non-living, sentient and insentient, everything is Omkara. All that is belonging to the past, the present and the future is Omkara. And the Mandukya Upanishad tells all the other thing which is beyond the 3 periods of time, which is beyond this world, which is beyond this light, that is also Omkara, Parabrahma. All this indeed Brahman. This Atman which is present within you is also Brahman. So, beyond all these things, that is the truth. That is the truth. So now, Mandukya Upanishad is telling beyond all time, space and causation, beyond everything, beyond the light. So he had that experience of that. He became one with that. He lost body consciousness. Latu narrated to the devotee, you see, it is nothing spectacular to see light during meditation. For them, nothing spectacular. For us, even to have a glimpse of that is so great. They are so great. They have got the grace of Ramakrishna. He's telling nothing spectacular to see light during meditation. What will it do? It only strengthens your faith. It's only the milestone. As I told you, when you're going, you'll see the milestone, the kilometer board, then you tell, oh, I'm approaching towards my destination. So you feel happy, you get faith. So now Latu Maharaj is telling to see light during meditation, it only strengthens faith. When body consciousness goes away, when you don't feel that you are the body, you are the mind, you are the ego, when that attachment to the body consciousness goes away, and your mind becomes pure, one realizes a realm behind the light, beyond everything, which neither can be known through the intellect. Your intellect, your mind cannot grasp it, which can be neither can be known through the intellect, nor can it be expressed by words. When you cannot grasp with your mind and intellect, how can you put it into words? It is beyond words, it is beyond the light, it is beyond all time, space, and as we saw in the Mandukya Upanishad. It cannot be expressed by words. So Latu Maharaj had that vision, had that experience. You can't call it vision or experience. He became one with that. He went beyond everything. The highest samadhi he had while serving his Guru, while serving Ramakrishna. See, the service itself brought him everything. So, Guru Seva itself can bring you the highest. Serving the Guru with great devotion can bring the highest. See, and example is here, Latu. So he's telling now how he went beyond all that light and everything and realized that oneness with the Atman, which cannot be known through the intellect, nor can it be expressed by words. One day at Kashipur, Latu Maharaj is narrating his experience. One day at Kashipur, I was rubbing the master's head. So that is called tail malish in India, massaging the body. So when they are sick, there will be no blood circulation. When you massage their body, there will be blood circulation and the health improves. So in India, while they go to the saloon or after the bath, they have this massaging, or before the bath, body massage, head massage. So in Ayurveda, it's also there. So now, Latu was giving this massage to the head of Ramakrishna with that oil. So Latu is telling, one day at Kashipur, I was rubbing the master's head. Then that transcendental realm opened to me. My senses failed to grasp that infinite while I was rubbing oil on the head of Master. That transcendental realm opened to me. My senses failed to grasp that infinite, but I realized it through and through. My senses, my mind couldn't grasp it, but I became one with that. I realized that. My senses fail to grasp that infinite because my senses and mind are finite, which can grasp only the finite. But that is infinite. So Latu is telling, at that time when I was serving my Guru, rubbing the oil on his head, then that transcendental realm opened to me. My senses failed to grasp that infinite, but I realized it through and through. You become one with that. You become that. You realize that. Can't express in words. Suppose there is a dumb person, can't speak. You give him the best of the eatable sweets or something, whatever is very, very tasty. You make him eat that. After that, he's so happy to have eaten that wonderful thing. Then ask him, how was it? What will that dumb person tell? That's all, nothing else. You can't speak. He's dumb. So likewise, when you experience that God, your real nature, then how can you express it? You can only cry, ah, ho, ha, 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 that's all. That's why in the Vedas there is one called Samaveda. So Samagayan Naste. In the Vedas you have to sing. The singing, the music, everything has come from that Samaveda only. So there that Samagayan Naste Ahu 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 Ahamannam 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 Ahamannado Ahamannado Ahamannadaha. So Samagayan Naste. So it will come out in music. Just you can't express what it is, the experience. The Lord, the experience of the Lord, you become one. Only it will come out as music. Ah, hoo, ah, that's all. So that expression is given in the Vedas as the Samaveda. So here, Latu is experiencing that highest transcendental realm open to me. My senses failed to grasp that infinite, but I realized it through and through. He became one with God, immersed in God. So that is already within you. It is possible for every one of you. Who wants it? Nobody wants it. We are all interested in the worldly joys. We are all interested in the puny, petty, small tidbits, games, toys. Play. The Divine Mother will give you so many toys in the form of vehicles, buildings, wife, husband, children, money, name and fame. Enjoy it and be here. They're so puny. They're so small compared to that higher joy. Nobody wants it. So the Divine Mother will give you whatever you want. If you want it, then you will get that wonderful thing. See here. He realized it through and through. It is all within you, all of me, everyone. But we do not want that. Shishi Bhushana Chakravarti, later Swami Ramakrishna, he described that now Latu Maharaj has expressed how he had within. Externally, who saw it? Shishi Bhushana Chakravarti was also serving the master at that time. He saw. Later on, he will become Ramakrishna. Shishi later testified. One day in Kashipur, master asked Latu to rub his head. So by taking the service of rubbing the head with the oil, Ramakrishna is giving the spiritual realm, the spiritual experience. So that's why you see, while you are given the mantra diksha, you have to give Guru Dakshina in the form of some fruit or some cloth or very little money or whatever. That's a token. The disciple has to offer something through which the Guru will be giving you, which you cannot measure it, you cannot value it, you cannot give it any rate, invaluable thing. That is the spiritual knowledge he will give you. But at that time, we have to give something, the form of the fruit or something minimum. We have seen many times, many people, poor people would go to Holy Mother or some other disciples of Ramakrishna without anything. So they have to give something at that time. So Holy Mother would give some betel nuts, which she had, to them, and she used to take that during the Diksha, the betel nut, the lowest, what can they do? Betel nut, once, just like 1 cent or half cent, or a lemon or a mango, and they would take that as Guru Dakshina and give them the highest. So here Ramakrishna himself told Latu to massage his head with oil, rub his head with the oil. After a while, I noticed that Latu, while he was rubbing the oil on the head of master, Shishi is telling, after a while I noticed that Latu's hand stopped. His body became motionless. What happened? Ramakrishna is giving him, while he was serving, while he was rubbing his head, Ramakrishna, through the head, he is giving him this Nirvikalpa, highest Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the highest goal of life. Shishi Maharaj is saying, after a while I noticed that Latu's hand stopped. His body became motionless. And even while doing that work, everything motionless, he became absorbed in deep meditation. Latu lost all outer consciousness, lost all body consciousness. He's rubbing the head with the oil and everything stopped. He became motionless and went into meditation in that way itself. Deep meditation, absorbed in deep meditation while he was rubbing the oil. Shishi later testified, one day the master in Kashipur asked Latu to rub his head. Later, after a while, I noticed Latu's hand stopped. His body became motionless and he was absorbed in deep meditation. Then Shishi Maharaj called him a couple of times. He wanted to see what has happened. You stopped serving the master. It will disturb the master. What is happening? He called him. He wanted to disturb him out of that. But where is Latu? I tried to call him a couple of times and even touched his body, but there was no response. Now Sri Ramakrishna knew everything because he is the one who has given the highest experience. He is the Paramatman, he is the Avatar Purusha, the Vishnu himself can give anything. He has given that experience to him. So now Master is telling, Master said to me, that is Shishi, don't disturb him, my child. His mind, is his mind in this world? Is Latu's mind in this world? No, it has gone beyond. So don't disturb him. Let him have that experience. Then without disturbing Latu, he was just standing motionless while he was rubbing the oil in whatever posture he was. He was just motionless, standing there like a statue. So Master is telling, don't disturb him, Shishi. Is his mind in this world? No, it has gone beyond everything. Then without disturbing Latu, Shishi began to rub the master's head. He took over. Shishi took over that work, that seva. So that's how Ramakrishna used to give. While he was doing the Guru Seva, there itself he used to give that experiences. So Latu got that highest experience of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Latu himself expressed, we saw that. One day in Kashipur, I was rubbing the master's head, then the transcendental realm opened to me, Turiyavastha, the highest state. My senses failed to grasp. I couldn't understand what it was, that infinity. But I realized it through and through. I became one with that. Sri Ramakrishna gave up his body in Samadhi on 16th August 1886. Latu vividly described that day and the days that followed. Let us hear what happened at that time, because Latu was always there serving Master at that time. See, giving up the body is also very great. There is a saying in India, if you want to see a Sharana, a saint, you have to observe him during his death. How does he give up his life? Peacefully? What is this thing? Or will he be attached and will he be shouting for life to save the life? Or will he be crying so that he will be departing his kith and kin? No. It will be very joyful and peaceful. The death will be very special for them. So if you have to see a saint or a great person, watch him during death, then you will come to know whether he is really great or not. He is not afraid of death at all. It will be just like any other thing, just like Lord Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, when you hear that shloka, Vasamsi jirnani yata vihaya, just like worn out cloth or torn cloth, what would you do? You will just throw away that, cast away that worn out or thrown cloth, and you will take up a new cloth. Likewise, death is nothing but when this body is no more capable of serving you, helping you, then just like a worn out cloth, you give it up. That is death. Then you put another new cloth on you. That is birth. That's all. Krishna has made it so simple in Bhagavad Gita. So when they realize it, that we are the Atman, we are not the body, Just like any other cloth, you will give it up. So you will not have fear of death at all. So if you want to watch a great person, then watch him during the death time, study him, then you will see he's really great. So now Latu is explaining that wonderful sequence in the life of Master. Latu vividly described that day and the days that followed. Every night, just before going to bed, the Master would say, Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat. How is this? Whenever we make phone call, whenever we talk to others in India, we all tell this, Hari Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat or Hari Om Tat Sat. Where did this practice come from? Who started this practice? In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna tells, after doing the Homa or Havan or any puja or any other good work, you will have committed so many mistakes. We will not do it perfectly because of our mind not concentrating or focusing. No mindfulness, will be distracted. So at that time we will commit so many mistakes. So after the puja, generally we have to do the Kshamapana, asking for forgiveness to God in puja. Last end portion is, oh Lord, I have done so much, committed so many mistakes, please forgive me. That Kshamapana. Kshama means to ask for forgiveness. We do that. But here Krishna is taught in the Bhagavad Gita, after the Homa, Havan, or any puja, or any other work, good work to the Lord, you might have committed some mistake. How to ward it off? How to neutralize all that bad effects? It tells, chant Om Tat Sat. If you chant Om Tat Sat, then all that you have done will be warded off. Krishna tells in the Bhagavad Gita. I am not telling that, I am just repeating what Lord Krishna has told in Bhagavad Gita. Om Tat Sat. So later on people have added Harihi Om Tat Sat. Harihi is, Hari means the Lord. One who steals your difficulties, one who steals your mind, attracts your mind towards himself is Hari. The same meaning, Hari or Hara. Hara, Harati, Hari, same root word it has come. The same meaning. Whoever takes away your difficulties, whoever steals your mind towards him. So from that root word Har, Harati, that Hari or Hara, it's the same thing, Lord. So you can take it as God. So people have added Hari. Krishna is told only Om Tat Sat. If you tell after the Havan or any work, if you have committed any mistake, that will be neutralized by telling Om Tat Sat. Krishna is told in Bhagavad Gita. So people add to that Harihi Om Tat Sat. What is the meaning of it? You should also know the meaning. You should not simply mechanically follow it. Yes, Krishna is told. What is the meaning of Om Tat Sat? Om, as I told you, Om is nothing but Parabrahma, God. The representation of the Lord in the form of sound. All the gamut of sound is covered up in that Om word. One Om, one word Om. Everything, every aspect of sound is covered. So it is representing God. Om is nothing but Mandukya Upanishad. That's now I read. Mandukya Upanishad is telling everything that is Om. Everything, the Parabrahma is Om. It is telling Om. So here Tat Sat. What is the meaning of Tat? That. What is that? God. Sat is the only reality. That is the meaning. What is the meaning of Om Tat Sat? Or just Tat Sat? God alone is the reality. God is real. That means all else is unreal. This world, mithya. God alone is true. Whenever people are in difficulty, whenever people are crying, whenever people are getting the insult and getting angry, I tell them, remember this, God alone is true, all else is untrue. The highest dictum of Vedanta, Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya. If you remember that God alone is true, then immediately your mind calms down. All else is untrue, all this scolding, all this pain, all these miseries is untrue. Why should I worry? Why should I be troubled by the untruth? Let me concentrate on the truth, that is God. So your mind calms down. That's how I myself have applied, and I get the benefit whenever I see that somebody fighting or in trouble, or when my mind is disturbed, somebody insults me, then immediately Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya, God alone is true, all else is unreal. And immediately mind calms down. Why? God alone is true, all else is untrue. All these things, the insults, the pain, the disturbance, the miseries are untrue. Why should I worry about the untrue? Let me worry. Think of the truth. So Om Tat Sat, Krishna is told. After all the work, after all puja, after all the havan, if you have to neutralize all the wrong effects of it, if you have done any mistake, how to neutralize it? Repeat Om Tat Sat, Krishna is told in Bhagavad Gita. People add it Harihi Om Tat Sat. It's not Hari Om Tat Sat. It is Harihi Om Tat Sat. They repeat it Harihi Om Tat Sat. What is the meaning? The Lord alone is true. God is the only truth. All else is unreal. God alone is true. The moment you hear God alone is true, then all that you have committed, all the mistakes that you have committed, it is not true, because you are immersed in God. That's why all that will be neutralized. Om Tat Sat. So now you can see Ramakrishna is repeating that Harihi Om Tat Sat every night. Just before going to bed, the master would say Harihi Om Tat Sat. We can also be repeating it now and then. It's wonderful. Om Tat Sat Hari. Whenever you make a phone call, you can answer Harihi Om Tat Sat. We tell Om Namo Narayana. Wonderful. This can also be told whenever we meet each other. Harihi Om Tat Sat. We can. God alone is truth. God alone is true. The other people also will be reminded. We will also, it will remind us also that God alone is true. So what a wonderful practice. So Ramakrishna, just before going to bed, the master would say, Harihi Om Tat Sat. Verily, the Lord is the only reality. Where has it come from? Lord Krishna has told that in Bhagavad Gita. And Ramakrishna is also doing that himself. It was Krishna, it was Rama who came then in the Dwapara Treta Yuga, in the Kali Yuga. He has come as Yugavatara Ramakrishna. So he is following whatever he has told. Verily, the Lord is the only reality. Verily, the Lord is the only reality. That last night, Latu is telling that last night, 1886, that last night he uttered this Harihi Om Tat Sat as I was fanning him. It was nearly 11 p.m. Then he heaved a sigh and seemed to go into Samadhi, highest concentration of the mind in God, merging in God, that is Samadhi. He seemed to go into Samadhi. Brother Loren, see, because of his Bihari accent, Latu couldn't pronounce Naren. He used to call Naren as Loren. Brother Loren asked us to chant Hari Om Tat Sat, all of us to chant Hari Om Tat Sat. Then all the direct disciples and other people, the householder disciples who were there, Master Mahashay who were there, Girish Chandra were there, all started chanting. Girish was not there. He had not come. He couldn't see. He didn't want to come. So he was not there. All others, Balram Babu. So they all started chanting Harihi Om Tat Sat, Harihi Om Tat Sat. God alone is the truth. Verily, the Lord is the only reality. We continued to chant until 1 a.m. midnight. From 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. we all started chanting Hari Om Tat Sat. When the master came down from Samadhi, then he ate a little farina pudding, that is the suji paisam, because he couldn't eat any solid food. The liquid food would be prepared by Mother Sharda Devi. So he ate little farina pudding, which Shashi fed him. Suddenly, again he went into Samadhi. Saying this, Lorraine grew Latu is narrating this. Lauren grew worried. He called Gopal Dada, Elder Gopal, and asked him to get Ramlal Dada, the nephew, because he knew so many things. Gopal Dada and I left immediately, that is Latu. We left immediately for Dakshineshwar because they are in Kashipur. He wanted to bring his nephew Ramlal. And Ramlal Dada came running, came back with us. He examined the master. He examined Sri Ramakrishna and said, the crown of his head is still warm. The crown, that is the sahasrara of the head, is still warm. That is, the life is still there. Please call Captain Vishwanath Upadhyay, the resident of the Nepalese government in Calcutta and a devotee of the master, because he knew about this Ayurveda and other things of Samadhi, how to bring down people from Samadhi. He knew something about it. So Ramlal, the nephew, requested them to bring Captain Upadhyay. Holy Mother Sharda Devi was unable to restrain herself. When she came to Sri Ramakrishna's room, she cried out, "O Mother Kali, what have I done that you have left us?" So now, in the deep Samadhi, Ramakrishna merged himself into that highest Parabrahman, the final Samadhi, the Maha Samadhi. We go to Samadhi while we are living, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, but now here, the final Samadhi, Ramakrishna merged himself into the Parabrahman. So Holy Mother Sharda Devi, unable to restrain herself, when she came to Master's room, she cried out, "O Mother Kali, what have I done that you have left us?" Seeing Holy Mother weeping, Baburam, who would become Swami Premananda, and Jogin, who would become Swami Yogananda, went up to her, and Golapma took her to her room back. So now, why did Holy Mother Sharda Devi cry, telling, "Oh Mother Kali, you went away, leaving me alone here"? So, I have told you many times, Ramakrishna had realized Divine Mother Kali. That was the first thing he did, to bring in woman empowerment. He realized God as Divine Mother Kali, the first person to do the woman empowerment. He had his Guru also as a woman, to bring in woman empowerment. Who was that? Bhairavi Brahmani. He didn't need any Guru at all, but he had the woman as his Guru, Bhairavi Brahmani. So now, after realizing, what is realization, as you told you many times? The ideal, the guna, the qualities, the attributes to which that deity, God or goddess stands for, that will be realized in perfection. I have talked about it many times. So you become in that ideal one with, in perfect union with that God, or the God will come and merge in you. So when Ramakrishna realized Mother Kali, that means he became Kali. Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati. When you realize God, you become one with God. So he became one with Kali, or Kali started residing in the body of Ramakrishna. He realized all gods and goddesses, every god and goddesses started merging in that personality. Now, whenever Ramakrishna wanted to see his Ishtadevata, earlier he had to pray, then mother would come and give the vision, or he had to go to the temple to see her in the image. But later on, he couldn't withstand the separation even for a second. So mother would always reside in the body, in the person of Ramakrishna. They became one. There was no separateness. Now we had completely perfect self-abnegation. He lost his individuality completely. There was only Ishtadevata. So whenever he wanted to see the mother, just see the mirror, go stand for mirror, you will see Mother Kali, not Ramakrishna. Perfect self-abnegation, complete removal of ego. So the Divine Mother resided. You know, Vivekananda, the last days here itself in Kashipur, he made him to sit nearby, and he transferred some power. It is written in the life of Ramakrishna also as Vivekananda, that something like a power of 2000 watts or even more, like electricity, that highest power got transferred from the body of Ramakrishna into Vivekananda. Then one day, one of the disciple of Swami Vivekananda, a householder disciple, Sharat Chandra Chakravarti, was a great Sanskrit scholar. He was very bold and he used to ask questions. He was not afraid of Vivekananda. He used to ask questions openly. He once asked Vivekananda, in Swamiji Shishya Samvad, it is given, all that is there, it is recorded. He asked Swami Vivekananda, what is that in the life we see that something like very high electric power, like 200 or 2000 watt, that power got transferred from Ramakrishna to your body, and Ramakrishna started weeping, telling that, oh, I have become a poor pakir, I have lost everything. Then Vivekananda told, no electricity, no electric, this thing, power transfer or something. Until then, the Divine Mother Kali was making the pure instrument of Ramakrishna's body to reside. She came away into my body. That Divine Mother Kali was residing in the person of Ramakrishna until then. She came away and entered my body. And after that, she has not allowed me to rest even for a single second. She is constantly making me work. All that I did was from her. So it was Divine Mother Kali who was residing. So Holy Mother Sharda Devi knew that she herself was Kali, living Kali. So that highest force, Mother Kali, is acting in everybody, in every one of them, the force. The original force, all this universe, the original force, power is Mother Kali. So she acted, took up this body in the form of Ramakrishna or Mother Sharda Devi or Vivekananda. She is not separate from Shiva. They are one and the same. So now you can see the moment Ramakrishna gave up the body, what was the cry made out by Mother Sharda Devi? She is telling, oh Mother Kali, why did you leave me and go away? So that is the reason why Mother told. Mother Kali was residing in that pure instrument called Ramakrishna. Oh Mother Kali, why did you leave me and go away? Now we shall stop our conversation here and we shall continue the life of Swami Adbhutananda in our next class. Today is Friday. We will be meeting again on Sunday morning to continue, Sunday and Monday. So until then, we will meditate on all these wonderful things. We'll try to realize that Lord in us. So if you have any questions, if you have any doubts, you can ask. So Sridhar has put on the board that there is no question on the YouTube. Here in the Google Meet, if you have any doubt, if you have any questions, you can ask. We have 4 or 5 minutes left. You can ask any questions if you have.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om, Kolanji, please tell.
Every time I listen to you, Swamiji, I realize how little I know. For all this time that I have, for my age, and I realize every time I listen to you, you show me how little I know. And but for that, I'm most grateful anyway. I think one of the things Swamiji needs to explain to us, very simple, going back to basics, is when we try to meditate, please tell us how should we start the process. We may be doing it wrong. If you can explain to us how to actually start the process, if there are any special methods that we should be doing before we start our japa. Thank you, Swamiji.
So when we sit to do our japa or meditation, generally we'll be coming from the office or the work or our mundane duties, and suddenly we sit there. So our mind will be flying in different directions, so it will not concentrate at that time. All the other thoughts, all the earlier thoughts will be rushing. So what is the way to come out of that? So in the instruction book itself, the Gurudeva will have given all that thing. So you can wear a separate set of cloth, fresh, washed, fresh cloth only for japa and meditation. If you wear that vibration, and if you have a prayer hall or a puja place where you can sit, and a asana, separate asana for that, and sit in that room, then that atmosphere, that tan matra will start calming down our mind. Then when we sit there, we can do deep breathing, just like Nadi Shuddhi or Pranayama. So that also will cool down our mind. Then singing of a song, bhajan, or hearing of some other good music also will cool down our mind, background music. Then reading 1 or 2 pages from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna teachings, or Mother Sharda Devi, or from Bhagavata, or from Bhagavad Gita, and then starting your japa. By that time, the mind which was running here and there will calm down and come to our control. As a witness, allow that mind to run here and there, whatever, let it do like a child, allow it. It will tire. After it gets tired down, it will come to your control. So then, doing all these things, then you do the japa as per the instructions of your guru, then you will get concentration of mind.
Thank you so much, Swamiji. That's made things much clearer.
Yeah. Any other questions? Any other doubts? Okay, we shall conclude today's session with the prayer. Om Priyatam Pundarikakshaha Sarvayagneshwaro Harihi Tasmin Tushte Jagat Tushtam Pridite Priditam Jagat Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Thank you. Namaste. Om Namo Narayana.